Welcome back for another video. What are the top all-time FPL managers doing this game week? We've got a lot of chips active this week, quite a lot to discuss with Gameweek 4, with quite a few injury headaches as well coming back from the break. So Milko is the top ranked expert after a score of 60 points last game week with a -4, and he's 19k overall already. A few years ago, Milko finished 89th and then 173rd back-to-back consecutive seasons, which has surely got to be up there as two of the best back-to-back seasons ever. He's had a great start to this season as well. The average expert score was 53 points. Did you manage to beat them? Well done if you did. So this week, 30% of our top managers are going to roll. 42% making one transfer, 15% making two. A couple of experts are even spending 3 transfers, and quite a surprisingly high number of hits this game week, although obviously injuries haven't helped us out with the likes of Cunha, Palmer and Sarr flagged. I mean, some of those will play, but on top of injuries, we need those 3 transfers for just normal squad management to upgrade players. So yeah, it doesn't help when you've got all that combined. 13 managers are taking a -4 and 1 is taking a -8. 11% of the top all-time managers have got a chip active this week as well. We'll have a look at the best wildcard and the best free hit teams shortly. The first big question though is, who are they buying and who are they selling this week? The number 1 transfer in is Munoz, who 24% are buying. Palace and Liverpool definitely have the 2 standout fixtures this week against Sunderland home and Burnley away. He is a bit pricey for 5.5 mil, but he is worth it. He got 10 attacking returns last season, plus he got 11 clean sheets, so 21 returns in total for 5.5 mil. He also hit the DEFCON threshold 7 times last season for an extra 14 points worth. Only Trent had a higher expected goal involvement last season among defenders. So Semenyo is the second top transfer, who's obviously enjoying a really good start to the season. 1.95 expected goal involvement for him. He's taken 9 shots in the box, 9 in the box, which is more than anyone in the entire league across all positions. That's exactly where you want your FPL assets taking their shots. Lots of Palace investment. We've got Mateta and Lacroix, both joining 15% of the experts team as well. 11% are opting for Jonas as their striker, who's quite an interesting alternative to Mateta. Like, he's 1.5 mil more expensive, but obviously significantly stronger team, and a nice fixture this week now. I mean, Forest home is suddenly looking like quite an appealing fixture in what's been quite a dramatic week following Nuno's departure and Postecoglou's arrival. And of course they lost 3-0 to West Ham before the break. Sarr is the most sold player, who did pick up a hamstring injury just before the international break and subsequently withdrew from international duty. We haven't been told exactly how long he's out. Like, if it's just one, maybe a 2-game injury, then holding on to him is still a possibility, but annoyingly you will miss the 2 best fixtures in the near term. Looking at the most bought list again to try and identify the best Sarr replacement, there's not really an obvious one. We've got Paqueta 9%, Gakpo 8%, Gakpo obviously costs a bit more. We've got King 4.5 mil 7%. Some others that don't quite make the list as well. Dewsbury Hall 4%, Reinders 3%, Enzo 2%. West Ham's long-term fixtures are pretty good, so Paqueta does have potential given he's on penalties as well. Enzo's got to be one more haul away from being too good to ignore. He got 1 goal, 1 assist in Game Week 3. He got 1 goal, 1 assist in Game Week 2, so back-to-back double-digit returns. No midfielder's got more points than the Argentinian. Although, of course, Enzo's annoyingly out of reach for lots of managers after Gu's return to Chelsea. Like, if you've got Gu and João Pedro and Sanchez, as an example, then you're already tripled up and you can't buy Enzo. Let's look at a couple of FPL teams for Game Week 4. If you do find these videos useful, make sure you hit like below and subscribe. It's completely free and you can benefit from these videos every week to help you do better in FPL. So the chip overview, 6% have got their wildcard active, 5% have got their free hit active this week as well. A nice side effect of the double chips change to FPL this season is it has given us even more to talk about each week because there's very frequently chips active right now. So what's the best wildcard team? What's the best free hit team for Game Week 4? FPL Mark has activated his wildcard. He's a 4-time top 10k finisher, including a run of 3 in a row right now, and he's aiming for a 4th in a row. His last 3 finishes are 1.4k, 5.5k and 8.2k, and he shared his team with us, which is as follows: Raya, Tosin, Van Dijk, Munoz, Bruno, Salah, Semenyo, Paqueta, Mateta, João Pedro and Jokeres. Here's what he had to say. Decided to wildcard as I wasn't happy with the majority of my team, which consisted of Nico Williams, Dorgu, Wirtz, Rogers, Cunha, Watkins and Gu. Despite Liverpool and Villa having good fixtures in Game Week 4 and 5, I wasn't happy with what I was seeing from Wirtz and Villa in general, so remaining patient wasn't something I could see paying off, and I thought being proactive rather than reactive was the way to go. Raya is nailed and he's the cheapest option into the Arsenal defence, which is the best in the league, plus they are virtually fixture proof, so he's a set and forget from now on. Van Dijk away to Burnley feels solid, and with being good for defcon and attacking a threat, he seems like another set and forget option. Tosin appears nailed and the cheapest way into Chelsea's defence, whilst also having defcon potential, and Munoz offers consistent attacking returns and clean sheet potential. 0.5 mil and 1 mil more than Lacroix and Guehi, but given he could feasibly haul regardless of how many Palace concede, means he's a lock in the starting 11 each game week. Senesi's been a revelation at the back. He already has 2 clean sheets, 1 assist, and he's picked up +2 defcon bonus points in every game so far. Salah is my captain for Burnley, and I prefer Salah over Haaland for now. Fernandes, even though he's playing a deeper role, he remains United's main creative outlet. With penalties and set pieces, he's also a viable captaincy shout in Gameweek 7 when United face Sunderland at home. Paquetá has already scored 2 goals this season, and he's West Ham's first choice penalty taker ahead of Bowen, so for 5.9 mil he's too good not to own. Semenyo is also excellent value with consistent minutes and attacking output. He's already one of the most reliable mid-priced FPL forwards. Dewsbury Hall is a budget enabler at 5 mil, but I'd also be looking to start ahead of Paquetá when fixtures sit right with him being nailed in what appears to be a good attack alongside Grealish and Ndiaye, and on some set pieces. João Pedro is a must own on current form and price, with being nailed due to a delapse injury, and he also offers effective ownership cover, which makes him difficult to ignore. Gyökeres is the standard option from Arsenal attack with Saka out. Being on penalties makes him a solid option, despite him not looking overly threatening in 2 or 3 game weeks so far. Long term, I'll reassess when Saka returns to see if the penalties are shared, but with Arsenal's fixtures between Game Week 7 plus Burnley and Sunderland, in Game Week 10 and 11, I can only see his EO and price rising. Mateta is the best option from Palace's attack, with being on pens and with Eze gone and Sarr injured. Next 2 fixtures are good, and most Palace attacks you'd expect him to be key too. Dubravka's in there as a 4 mil starting goalkeeper, and Gudmundsson at 4 mil for Leeds, who appears to be a solid defence at home, and he offers attacking threat and good for BPS. I will play a chip in Game Week 6, but this depends on how Salah and Haaland perform and look in Game Week 4 and 5. If City continue to perform inconsistently and Haaland's service looks restricted, then I'll play the free hit to have Haaland for Burnley at home. But if Haaland looks like he'll score regardless of opposition, and Salah continues to look on the periphery of Liverpool's attacks, then I'll sell Salah and Mateta with 2 free transfers for Haaland and a midfielder option in that 7.5 mil to 8 mil price range. Brilliant insight there, and Jason Fleming is on a different path. He's got his free hit active for Game Week 4, and he's a 3-time top 10k finisher himself, and his team is Raya, Lacroix, Gabriel Munoz, Cher, Semenyo, Salah, Gakpo, Ekitike, Gyökeres and Mateta. Here's what he had to say. I can safely say, for many of us, it's been a fairly brutal start to the season. Has there been a season where so many of our options have misfired quite like it? I am fancifully hoping for an upturn in fortunes this week, however. I'd earmarked free hit 4 for a while with how the fixtures line up. Liverpool, Arsenal, Palace and Newcastle all with excellent games, and the latter 3 teams I don't own any options from. With my struggling Forest triple up against Arsenal and appointment and a couple of injuries thrown in, all this served to reinforce my free hit decision. Double Arsenal and Palace plus Fabian Schär comprises my defences, all teams amongst the highest projected clean sheet odds this game week. Gabriel and Lacroix are set piece monsters, and Munoz is absolutely essential, and he could be even further advanced in Sarr's absence. I've struggled to identify a suitable attacker from Newcastle against a struggling Wolves side, but I wanted some coverage, so I've opted for Schär. Fulham players around my bench are cheap options home to Leeds if I need emergency cover. Triple Liverpool spearheads the midfield and attack with one of the best fixtures on paper this week. Isak is almost certainly not ready for Burnley, and therefore it's a given Ekitike, Gakpo and Salah will play in the front 3. I've been deliberating Van Dijk versus Gakpo, but I think the triple Liverpool attackers setup gives me a nice edge against the non-wildcard and free hitters who might only have Salah and Van Dijk. I'm prepared to take on João Pedro at 70 to 80% EO with Mateta and Gyökeres, with both on pens and lovely home fixtures. I think Brighton versus Bournemouth feels like a high scoring affair, and Semenyo has been in scintillating form this season, so I wanted to include him. The inclusion of Haaland was a consideration for me. However, the sacrifices required to fit both he and Salah are just too great, and I wouldn't cap him anyway, so he's out of the equation. Overall, it feels like a very tidy free hit of solid options throughout. Best of luck everyone, wouldn't it be nice to get some points for once? Thanks very much guys, best of luck with the chips as well. Gameweek 4 captaincy next, and as you can imagine, it's very one-sided this week. It's Salah who's the captain of choice. 88% of the experts are going with him. Haaland's in second with just 7%, Gakpo 2%, and then we've got Mateta, Munoz and Ekitike of 1 each. FPL Review's algorithm on default settings has got Salah ahead on 7.4, and then it's Haaland 6.5 EV, Gyökeres on 6, Mateta's 5.6, and then it's Palmer and Munoz on 5.3. So, what's the experts team for Gameweek 4? Using the most owned players for the template within budget, it's Sanchez in goal, it's Anderson, Pedro Porro and Munoz in defence. We've got Semenyo, Salah, Bruno and Reinders midfield, and then it's Watkins, João Pedro and Mateta up front. It's a bit of a dodgy bench this week. We've got Dubravka and Esteve against Liverpool, and then we've got Williams and Anderson against Arsenal. You'd probably put Anderson first on the bench actually, ahead of Williams here. Munoz, Semenyo and Mateta join the team this week. Dubravka's still by far the most owned player at 95% ownership. Salah's at 89%, and I know that a lot of the experts are looking at that Salah to Haaland switch in Gameweek 6, which will see Salah's ownership plummet, potentially dropping out of the team since, I don't even know when, like Gameweek 1 last season. Though that won't be an easy decision if he does haul the next couple of games, and there's always a chance when he's got nice fixtures like Burnley next. They're staying patient with Watkins though. He's still 75% owned despite no returns yet. It's worth pointing out as well that Wirtz and Gakpo have actually got higher ownership than Anderson, who's on the bench here, but I have to keep the team within budget. Very nice looking team though. Finishing up with final thoughts and tips, here's what the experts wanted to say to you. Adam Capstick says, I really want to keep Sarr if at all possible, who I still firmly believe is the best midfielder in this bracket. So if the injury is not so serious, I might roll or do a defender transfer instead, sacrificing a bit in quality of the team for this week, but making up for it long term. FPL Alternative is also wildcarding and looking to get the bench boost out of the way in Gameweek 5 and the triple captain in Gameweek 6, so a huge few weeks ahead for him. Says likely to wildcard due to injuries and an opportunity to bench boost in Gameweek 5 and then bring in and triple captain Haaland in Gameweek 6. I'm still finalising the squad, but balance for the long term will take precedence. Chris Davies held on to Palmer and is waiting on further news still and says, I'm waiting to see if Palmer will be past fit. If not, then I'm going to have to transfer him out for Gakpo or Semenyo. And lastly, Rohan says, I'm finding Palace a bit tough to read with A. Eze gone, B. Pino carrying something, C. Sarr injured and D. Wharton injured, though the intent is to bring in Munoz, who might even play out of position. It might not amount to much if their already lean squad is dealing with so many issues though. Thanks for watching, and do hit subscribe before you go if you enjoyed the video. We're going to hear from the #1 all-time FPL manager before the next deadline tomorrow. See you soon for the next one.